Come on. Not sure if this is working. Please work. Please work. Oh, come on, man. It's just not working at all. For fuck's sake. Hey, we are live. Okay, got it. Right, I'm live. Apologies for the interruptions and the cock-ups, and I swore a little bit then because I was getting frustrated. Yeah. Apologies for going live and then going off, and then I'm back. I am on now. I was having some issues, but I'm hoping it's working now. 3 viewers, nice one. I had like 15 viewers a minute ago as well, which is annoying. Shot by Kieran. Hey, bro. Hi, mate. Good to see you, man. Right. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes while people join on. And I'm going to be here until 9 o'clock or just past 9 o'clock because Love Island's on at 9. And I've got to get off for that. But I'll go over a few minutes because I was a few minutes late. So I'm sorry about that. So, if you've seen these before, I am planning on making these a monthly thing now. I've done a few already, and my plan now is to stick to the first Wednesday of every month around this time. All being well, as a general rule of thumb, if I can't do it on a Wednesday, I'll do it on a Thursday or whatever. But generally, it's going to be the first Wednesday of every month. I'm going to do a live edit Q&A. So if you've seen them before, if you've tuned into the last couple, then it's the same format as usual. It's I'm just going to tinker away. I've got an edit on screen here that I'm going to tinker away with, and you can ask me questions as I work. You can watch me work. You can ask me questions relating to what I'm working on or anything weddings related at all, or videography, cameras, kit, anything. Just it's Q&A, but whilst I'm working, so you can kind of watch me edit as well. So it's the same format as previous. If you've seen them before and if you've tuned in for the first time, then that's basically the premise. I'm going to do some editing and you can ask me questions and I'll answer them as best I can. But give us a shout out if you're tuned in, if you're there, if you're watching. Tell you what I'm going to do real quick. We are live. Right, so this week or this month, should I say, this episode, I am working on the edit of a wedding I did in Spain a couple of months ago. So I actually did a bit of behind the scenes stuff and live stuff whilst I was out in Spain on over this wedding. So some of you might know the edit that I'm working on from watching those previous videos. But I shot a destination wedding in Spain a few weeks ago, and I'm just at the very start of starting to edit down their highlights. I have finished their feature film, which was about 17 minutes or so, 18 minutes. And I'm now going to cut it down into the highlights. But the first thing I need to do, I've chosen my track that I want to use, which is down here. And my first job is to choose my audio. So as you can see in the sort of bottom of the timeline along here, these chunks that are separated by these placeholders along here. Those are my audio chunks, my sound bites that I've used in the film. So I'm just going to whittle those down first of all. I'm going to have a listen for those and decide which bits of audio I want to use in the highlights. I already know there was a bit of the best man speech that I want to use, and there's a bit of the vows were personalized, so I'm going to use a bit of that. So I'm just having a listen to these and whittling those down before I start whittling the clips down, if that makes sense. But any questions, just fire them away. That's the whole point of doing this, you know. Live chat. So that's a bit of the registrar welcoming everyone to the venue and the setting. So that's quite nice. Might use that. I'm not having any of that. Can. I don't need that. That's the For the Bride speech going there. Yeah, I'll get rid of Dad's speech. D Hard Jono, nice. Thanks, mate. How's it going? Thanks for joining on. Thanks for commenting. It's nice to see comments, so I know that there's actually people there. Quit that. Wild and Wheels. Hey, bro. Wild and Wheels. Nice to meet you too, mate. Thanks for watching. Hope you well. So yeah, just I'm editing away for those of you who are just joining on. I'm just working away at an edit. So feel free to watch me, ask questions about as I go about what I'm doing, or just anything in general. If you want to ask me questions about wedding stuff, videography stuff, Sony like camera stuff, I'm Sony, Love Island stuff, general life advice, philosophical muffling. So this is the bride and groom's personalized vows. I'm going to keep some of that. I'm going to keep that in. Not sure where that's going to slot in yet, but I feel like that should probably make the short film. Sunhill Films, what up? Wild and Wheels, maybe you know the last client's Sergio Ramos, as in Madrid. Yeah. Cool. So, as in, like, you did Sergio Ramos's wedding, or like what we're talking about here? Yes, Johnny McGill, we have a question. Right, mate. Do you edit the highlight clip in running order of the day or switch back and forward? I don't feel obliged to edit it in the running order of the day. The longer film, the feature film, is done a lot more chronologically, so it'll be like morning ceremony, drink reception, first dance. It'll follow that kind of chronological order of the day. With the highlights film, it can sometimes, but it can sometimes get completely mixed up. It's all down to the story and the couple and kind of the energy I'm trying to convey and their personalities that I'm trying to convey. So it depends. It's like this. They had they all dived in a pool later on in the evening, as you can see here from this footage here, and that was quite a cool moment. And I'd be tempted to put that at the start of the film as like an intro because it's quite a strong like visual hook and it's a fun moment and it's going to draw them in straight away. But obviously that's from the end of the day. So the highlight film, a lot more so than the long film, I am happy to mix up. creatively in terms of, and I just put whichever clips in I feel tells the story at that moment. You know, I might start with some portrait stuff if I start with the short. Depends on the wedding, but certainly not. It doesn't have to be chronological for me. The highlight film, it can be, but it just basically the most visually killer shots and emotional shots from whatever point in the day, as long as they make sense in terms of where they are in the track and what audio is coupled with it. That's basically what I go off. Hopefully that answers your question. You go? Yes, mate. How's it going? Digital video productions. Hi, Adam. B-roll with the iPhone on the beach. Destination wedding. How you capture audio? Sony TX650. Thinking of buying. So the B-roll is from my camera on the beach on this one. I have shot footage, generic sort of beachy footage on my phone before, but this was all in camera and my Sony's, and I've used the TX650s on this one, yeah. So I was flicking through these audio chunks to see what I can keep and what I can get rid of. Have a listen to this. Yeah, I'm not feeling that one. Delete. Stream's bitrate. The stream's current bitrate is lower than. Oh dear, the bitrate's low. I don't know what that means. The guy that films, hey Adam, is this the documentary edit you're working on? Do you tend to use music for it or go purely on natural audio? Right, I don't do a documentary edit. To answer your question, I do a short highlights film. Do a short highlights film, which is like 5 minutes, which I'm making now. This is what I'm condensing down to, and I do a longer feature film, which is 15 to 20 minutes. So my longest film is about 20 minutes, and it's all creatively edited and stuff. So I don't really do a documentary edit. This was a feature film. This was a nearly 20-minute film that I'm now condensing down into a shorter highlight film, which is going to end up being about 4.5, 5 minutes. And do I use music? Yeah. So on both films, the longer film and the short film, I always use music. The short film usually is one track, maybe two. The long film is 4 or 5 tracks. And I use a bit of natural audio as well, bits of crowds cheering or people chatting or the anything, any sort of nice moments from the bridal preps or anything like that. I use all that ambient audio as well as sound effects sometimes as well. So I've got like the waves crashing on this one as a sound effect to sell that kind of location. But any natural audio I get, I just get straight out of camera as well. I don't use any sort of on-camera mics or Rode mics or anything like that. Happy July 4th. Yeah, happy July 4th to all our American cousins, or wherever you are in the world. If you celebrate Independence Day, happy 4th of July tomorrow. The July 4th for me is the day that Stranger Things is back. I'm looking forward to watching that tomorrow because that's due back on Netflix tomorrow. Can't wait for that. I'm just going to go through and cull some of this B-roll footage because I don't want all of these clips, obviously. I don't need any of these sort of having the photo taken moments. I might leave that one. Guy that film's got you. Cheers, dude. You're welcome. Glad I could help. Philip Topping Photo. Hello. Bear with me, mate. It's tricky doing destination weddings like this in the scorching heat because the light is very harsh and it's hard to get a nice look to it. It's obviously much easier when it's soft light and it's all goldeny. But I do like the harsh light sometimes. It makes for a nice contrast. Right, I'm thinking about starting off offering highlights only video. Does anyone book this? Sorry if I repeated this. No, it's the first time I'm seeing that question, so it's not repeated. Well, you might have been, but it's the first time I'm seeing it. You're thinking about starting off offering highlights only video? Absolutely, go for it. When I started, all I offered was a highlights film, and it was five or 6 minutes, one track. I didn't even use audio for the first few. So certainly, if you're just getting started, I would offer a highlights only video. I think there's plenty of people that would book this, especially if they've gotten towards the end of the wedding planning and they're getting quite close to their day, and they've suddenly decided they want a video last minute and they've not got the budget for it, or everyone's booked. So they might those kind of couples are the ones that are going to be just getting a highlights. So that's your market really, the last minuters, I would say, because if they change their mind nearer to the time and they decide they want video and they've not got the budget, they would be more than happy, I would imagine, with just having a highlights film. And that's certainly how I started. And then as you progress from there, you can start offering copies of the ceremony and the speeches and etc. Gonna get rid of that one. Gonna use a bit of that best man speech because it's quite sentimental and nice. What price do you charge for a highlights video? My highlights package, I provide the full ceremony, the full speeches, and a highlights film, and that's around about the 2K mark for this year and next year. So yeah, it's £2,000 for as my starting price for the highlights only, and that's in pounds in the UK market. Got another for you. Controversial thing amongst you. Do you up your shutter speed to compensate for harsh sunlight, or do you use an ND filter? Funnily enough, I'm putting a video out next couple of weeks, explaining what I do for this. I just up the shutter, and like on this wedding, for example, it was outdoor, bright sunlight all day, and I've just had my shutter speed at 1/8000th for like 95% of the day until it got dark later on. So yeah, I use the shutter speed for exposure. I don't worry about an ND, and I'm doing a video in the next couple of weeks about why I don't worry about it too much, and you know the whole conversation of this motion blur and stuff. But it doesn't really bother me too much, and I certainly don't think couples notice it or care. For the most part, so I tend not to worry about it. But I've got a video coming out about that, funnily enough, so look out for that in the next couple of weeks. Cut there, and I'm going to start the groom speech from here. Yeah, I'll have a bit of that. So, right, so I've got a nice bit of the celebrant saying welcome to the venue, welcome to the location. That's quite a nice piece of audio to start the film with. With destination weddings, if the couple have come from or are local to the destination that I've gone to, obviously it's not a big deal. You know, if the couple's from Italy, it's not a big deal for them to be getting married in Italy or Marbella, as this case may be. But for this couple, they'd come over from the UK to get married in Marbella. Yeah. So the destination and the location is a bigger part, a big deal for them, and a big part of their wedding, as a bigger deal as it is for me. It's so I with destination weddings, I always try and get in as much flavor of the location and highlight that the fact that everyone's traveled over to be with them in this stunning setting, etc., etc. I always try and highlight that in the films because that's a big deal for them. It's like they've gone to all this expense and trouble to get married abroad, and they want to show it off. Interesting. So the highlights video for this film, I think, or at least the guy that films. You saw my little behind the scenes vlog, I think, in which I had a few clips from this wedding. Yeah, so I kind of included a few clips of the wedding film in my vlog. But you're right. Yeah, you can't really tell for the most part that it's high shutter. Obviously, I drop everything into a 25p timeline, so it exports out as a normal 25 frames per second video. But I don't think people notice the high shutter speed. I agree. Right. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna actually do some editing. One day we're done again. Turn that off. Where are people coming from? I'd be interested to know where people are watching from around the world. I find that fascinating that there's potentially people all over the place that are tuning in to watch little old me. Um, ah, oh, I appear to have two live streams going at the same time, and two uploaded videos going at the same time. So Aaron Evans, a villain filmmaking, Just Willie, Phil Topping. I'm sorry if you go back on my channel. There should be another one. I've just realised. I think I've got two live streams going at once. So if you flick over to that, if you are still there, and I'm sorry I've missed your questions, but we've all been over in the other live stream. I had some issues at the start of doing this. Shut up. Had some other issues. I had some issues going live, and I think it's put me live twice. Anyway, these are all nice shots. We had a really good sunset, golden hour. It like they did their first dance just as the sun was setting. So we got some really nice kind of golden flare kind of footage from the first dance. It was well good. It was well good. Get rid of that. So I used all this as a bit of an intro for the main film, but I'm not going to do it for the highlights. I'm going to get rid. Do you use a picture profile? Do you always use black bars? So to answer some other questions that I've only just seen, if you are still there, guys, Aaron Evans, do you offer a highlight film only? Yes, I do. And I've kind of covered that already. Avillion filmmaking, do I always use the black bars? Yes. So I'll bring that up actually. This purple line going right across the top is my black the black sort of letterbox bars, which change the ratio, the aspect ratio. And I use this plugin, this Alex 4D widescreen map plugin. As an overlay rather than changing the aspect ratio itself, I like to use the overlay. Because then I can kind of control consistency of how it's going to be viewed across multiple platforms. When the bride and groom are going to get the video, they'll probably sometimes be watching it on a TV, they'll sometimes watch it on their iPad, they'll sometimes watch it on their phone. I want to maintain consistency across everything, so I enforce the black bars myself using this purple kind of line thing that you can see. So that explains that, in case you're wondering. How long does it take you generally to edit a 3-minute film? 3-minute highlight. Do you just keep going back and changing it, or just draw a line and say, yeah, no, Johnny, good question. It gets to a point where, because I mean, I am a bit of a perfectionist, but the quickest way to speed up your editing is to stop being so picky with yourself and just kind of be more strict on yourself in terms of your creative decisions. And that's the fastest way to improve your edit speeds, because I can spend, I've been there, I've spent hours on fractions of a frame, that don't really, and the couple are never going to notice. So yeah, sometimes I just have to stop, give my head a wobble and go, do you know what, the couple aren't going to even notice that or care. It's fine, just send it out. So how long did it take me to edit a short highlight film? About half a day. And I always do them, I do the long film first and then I cut down to the short one. So that takes me about half a day. And yeah, it's a hard thing to do, but if you can practice just being strict with yourself and being more firm with your decisions, making a decision and sticking to it, just, yeah, I'm going to get rid of that clip. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that piece of audio. Don't second guess yourself, How many cameras do you use? I use 2 cameras all the time. Most of this footage you'll see, all the B-roll clips, are on just using one single camera and one lens, and then I have a second camera, obviously, for the ceremony and the speeches, just as a safe kind of static second angle. But that's the only time I use the second camera, is for those moments, the ceremony and the speeches. Oxfordshire, Boston, Massachusetts. Nice. Big up Oxford. Big up Oxford. Big up Boston. Oxfordshire. I am down in Oxfordshire. Week on Saturday. I'm in Oxfordshire week on Saturday for a wedding at Lilybrook Manor. Ireland, is that Northern Ireland? It will be, won't it? Northern Ireland. Good man. Never been to Ireland. I'd love to go to it. Is it Northern Ireland where Game of Thrones is, or is that let's not talk about Game of Thrones. I got upset with it. Right, so all this stuff I tell you what, there is a killer shot somewhere of, I'm going to use a bit of this stuff with the brown and green on the beach, nice portrait stuff. I'm just going to start the film with the portrait stuff. A bit cliched maybe, but it works, it's nice. I'm going to use all of the sunset-y sort of shots, the golden hour stuff, together so that it's, I like this shot of her slow-mo of the dress flapping in the sand. Quite like that. Yeah, so I don't want to go from like a golden hour shot straight into bridal prep. So I'll go golden hour shot, golden hour shot, golden hour. I keep all the golden hour stuff together so visually it's kind of not too jarring. And then I'll maybe cut to black or cut to a speech in order to transition back to the morning. I'm trying to find a particular shot that. Oh, that one, yeah. I just love the sun flaring through there. It's nice. So I think I'll start with that. Lillybrook Manor is in Berkshire. Okay, my bad. My geography is horrendous, so I'll just take your word for that. I'm sure you're right because I'm rubbish with geography. But yeah, so I'm not down in Oxfordshire. Then I'm down in Berkshire. Anyway, it's all south. Anywhere past the M6 toll is south. What time are we on? Quarter. Right, I have got to go at 9 o'clock. It's 1:45 now, so I'll give it 15, maybe 20 minutes, and then I'm going to have to shoot. Apologies to keep it relatively brief, but I feel like an hour of my waffles long enough. So if you do have any other questions about anything, ask away now. So I've got a chance to see them before I close off. Close enough. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's all southern. It's all down south. You're all near London, right? Someone asked as well before that I've only just spotted, do you use a picture profile, or can we get away from using them? I use a picture profile, and then I color grade from that picture profile. You don't have to use a picture profile. You can use picture style, which is a slightly different thing. There's plenty of settings that you can use in camera to get a certain look and get the colors that you want. But you could just leave it in auto white balance, no picture profile, full color, and just you put a bit of color correction on it in post or grade in post. You don't need a picture profile. And it's a funny one grading because I do like to do a bit of a grade, but I just don't think the couple, again, going back to watched a great video the other day about whether you should put out as just a businessy social media video. Should you be just putting out content, or and just banging it out documentary? And if it's not so, just putting it out without thinking about it, or should you be only putting out really good quality content that you've spent loads of time on? and it was a Gary Vee video, and he said that who's to judge what's quality and what isn't? The only person that can judge whether your content is quality or not is the person watching it. So in our case, the only person that can judge whether you've done a good wedding video or not is your bride and groom, and if they're happy, that's all that matters. Is that making sense? So things like color grading, motion blur, shutter speed, just down to little creative decisions that we do. You've got to keep in mind, like, are the bride and groom even bothered about that? Do they care about color grading? Probably not, unless they are themselves colorists. And if you do a wedding for a video colorist, then good luck. And ask anyone outside of the UK, and everywhere in the UK is near London. Yeah, true enough. Like when you ask Americans, if when you tell Americans that you're English and they think that you know the Queen. Richard Blake weddings, yes, mate. Big up the Northerners. Unless you're on like the other side of the Pennines in Yorkshire, in which case we had this discussion before. I'm sure I've had this debate with someone before. Right, I digress again. So that's a nice opening shot. And I can cut, yeah, mid range to a tight shot. That's kind of cool. Just needs tidying up a bit. Bride and groom walking down the beach. I like that. That's so far. So I've just kind of hashed those few clips together, but they're working. They're doing it for me. I feel like I'm going to start the track, bring the track in here as well. I do feel like the start of the film is always the hardest bit. You kind of get that creative block, and it's like, how do I start it? And then once you've started it, you've done the first 30 seconds, you've introed, the setting and the people. Then you kind of find your flow and you get going. It's the start that I always struggle with, but it's just, again, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, don't overthink it. Just start with what works. Start with a nice epic visual, a drone shot, some portrait stuff, nice bit of audio, start the track, and try not to overthink it too much. The photographer had him do this, but I'm not sure if it's for video. It might, or for my video for this couple. I kind of feel like it is cool, but is it a bit contrived for video? Makes for a brilliant still, but is it a bit contrived for video? I don't know. I prefer the more natural stuff, gotta say. I do want that killer shot of the bride's dress. Do 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 do. Oh gosh, I'm gonna need a faster computer if I'm gonna live stream and edit at the same time. It handles it okay, just not perfect. There's the one. I'm having a bit of that. Test the one. Do we use a bit of that as well? Tell me on. Oh, 5-2. Okay, right. 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes. Please do if you've got any questions or want to make any comments. Ask them now. This film, once I've finished editing it, will be hopefully going up on the channel if the couple are cool with that. So you'll get to see the finished product, the finished film. I know I've not really done much on it tonight because I'm at the very early stages of it, and it's just a case of figuring out where my bits of audio are going to go and culling down the clips, and that's a bit of an arduous process that I've got to do first before I can start piecing it all together. But I like to just do the start of the film and get the first opening sequence down. I like to get the opening sequence down just so that I can get excited about it and have some, a place to start, something to go off, start getting a feel for it. And I like this clip of the light on her dress as she's walking, and I've slow mode that to like 50% speed. I'm gonna get rid of that one. Let's just get these next few clips. I'll get the first 30 seconds done, and then I'm gonna go. But thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate all the comments. Obviously, there's been a few people: Johnny, McGill, Guy That Films, Phil, Nguyen, who's always popping up. Appreciate the support, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. And I'll be back next month doing another one. I'm going to start doing this every month, the first Wednesday of every month, as a general rule. So I'll see you next time, but do leave me a comment. This video will be staying online, so leave me a comment on it if you do come up with any questions. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video, and hope to chat soon. I'm muffling. Yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in. I'll see you all later. I'm gonna close up in about 2 or 3 minutes. Right, yeah, I'm off. Have a good evening. You too, mate. Have a good evening. Adam, does the couple feed you some food to eat? Yeah, I just quickly I'll answer that. Yes, I normally get fed, which is I'm very grateful for. I don't put it in my contract or explicitly say you have to feed me, but they normally offer, and I sometimes cheekily kind of go, "Is there any food knocking about?" So it's always appreciated when they do feed me, which happens 99% of the time. But I don't enforce it, so I'm happy to go to the sandwich shop if not, or get on Deliveroo or Uber Eats, which is an app in the UK, and I'm guessing Uber Eats is a global thing, but you could always just get a takeaway delivered to the venue if you're in range of that, which is a great little life hack. So yeah, anyway, thank you for tuning in. If you're at a wedding this weekend, happy filming. Um, all the best with that. It's nice weather in the UK. I've got two this weekend, so I'm looking forward to those. And I will see you guys soon.